Hey y'all, so I'm working on being more consistent, and even though like I have a million and one things, turn this heater off, a million and one things to do, I was like, let me get on and make a video about this because I was literally thinking about this morning. And if I could give you another piece of advice, I'm sorry that my television is kind of loud and I am gonna have to get out of this to turn it down, so just act like you don't hear it. It sounds like it's Shannon from Skip and Shannon doing an interview. But anyway, I was literally thinking about this morning, how if I could tell myself one thing, another one thing, I always say one thing, but one of those one things would be to relax, to just relax. So I have just really been working on self-love, self-concept, self-image here these last couple months. And one big thing that I realized about myself is that it's very hard for me to just relax and to allow things to happen to you and not just always feel like you need to be in control. And so what I was thinking about that in regards to this morning when it came to nursing was, I remember when I got into the ICU, I just was very intimidated by the doctors. And there was one doctor in particular that just literally scared the living daylights out of me. And it was because he would literally have temper tantrums. Like, he was probably shorter than me. He was like 5'2", 5'3". We might have been the same height, maybe. So he might have been 5'4", but I think he was just a little shorter than me. But very intelligent, one of the best doctors that we had on the floor. But literally, like, if you messed up, if you did the wrong thing, you said the wrong thing, then he would literally blow up on you. But he was really only this way with certain nurses. And so I found the longer that I was kind of on the unit that he had a really good relationship with some of the older, more experienced nurses. And I found, y'all, that the reason for that being was because they weren't intimidated by him. They weren't scared of him. Like, now they were on their stuff when it came to him, but they weren't intimidated or scared or petrified of him, like, unlike the new nurses. And so, when he would go crazy, they would just be like, his name was Hewlett. He'll probably never see well, I shouldn't say never, but they would just be like, that's Hewlett. And so I found that once and I think a lot of that too was I wasn't confident in myself. Like, I wasn't confident in my abilities as a nurse. I was just so scared to death of doing the wrong thing, saying the wrong thing. And so I just would literally just be so afraid to say or do anything around him. And I think that people smell fear, and I think that he smelled fear, and I think that he would take advantage of it. And I'm not saying that what he did was right or what he did was wrong, but you've got to understand that there are people that are going to do that to you, that when they see that you're intimidated by them, that you're afraid of them, that you're not a confident person, then some people will take advantage of that. Not all, because not all of the doctors did. There were some that were very compassionate, very nice, very patient. And, but there were some that were like Dr. Hewlett, which now I call him Hugh Baby, or I would call him Hugh Baby. But yeah, and so it just kind of was like when I got more confident in myself and I realized that, we're all human. I'm not going to know the answer to everything. I'm doing my freaking best. I'm not just here lounging around, not taking care of my patient. Like, I'm literally doing my best. So if I don't have the answer, then it's not because of negligence. It's just because I have been slammed and I just don't know. But I will find it out for you. Like, I'll find out immediately. And I think that's the other piece to that too, guys, is that if you don't know, you have to have a solution. You have to be willing to find the answer. And ultimately, I think that that's what allowed him to gain respect for me, is because I did just start to relax. And he saw that I was someone that took care of my patients and that, just overall was a good nurse. And so I would just say, honestly, guys, it's just to believe in yourself, have confidence in yourself, and realize that you're good enough. Like, you wouldn't have made it this far if you were not intelligent, if you were not able to do your job. You know, like, you can do this. You can literally do anything that you put your mind to. And so, and once I kind of changed the narrative and the way I thought about him and stopped seeing him as a big bad monster, like, I developed a really good relationship with him. And I think another interesting thing, that I just was kind of thinking about this morning was, it's just like, okay, somebody yells at you. Like, you know, because I think, like I said, people were just so terrified of getting yelled, him having like his little temper tantrum on you and going crazy. And it's just like, I just really, and because a part of my like self-image, self-concept, self-love is like just not caring. Like, not caring to the point where you're not negligent, but just not caring what people think, not caring about being embarrassed about things that are just out of your control, and just really being so secure with yourself that it just doesn't matter. And so this morning I was just thinking, I was just like, I mean, what's the worst that could have happened? The worst that could have happened was he yelled at me. Like, he just went crazy and yelled at me. Because, I mean, he wasn't going to put his hands on me. Like, he wasn't going to throw anything at me. Like, he just was going to yell at me. And it's like, that's not the end of the world. Like, that is not the end of the world, because more than likely nobody will laugh or think it's funny. Like, more than likely people would just be like, girl, don't pay him any mind. Like, that's just Dr. Hewlett. Like, don't pay him any mind. And so I think you just really have to approach things like that. Like, do your best, be confident in your abilities, always have a solution, always be willing to find the answer if you don't know. And if a doctor goes off on you, or if somebody else goes off on you, or, you know, because sometimes family members are that way, like, they can just go crazy. And so, you know, just don't pay it any mind, because like I said in a previous video, I found too that a lot of times things aren't even about you. Like, he might have gotten into it, he or she might have gotten into it with their man or with their woman before they left the house. And, you know, now they're just already annoyed and on edge. And even though you did something that just was so minute, you know, they're cursing and they're just going off the deep end. And you know what, guys? And honestly, you know, even if people do laugh or if people do talk about you, like, it's just like, okay, like, we all make mistakes, and you're going to make mistakes. You're going to, you know, you're going to get yelled at. You're going to get, you know, you're going to get a good talking to, you know, things are just going to happen. But how are you going to recover? Like, are you going to be a baby about it and quit and mope and, you know, every time they come around, you're just scared to death? Because a lot of times they forget. Like, they forget they went crazy on you. Or they'll come back. Sometimes I think I've had people come back and apologize. And, you know, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to be resilient. You've got to realize that people have bad days. Everybody's human. You know, like I said, the doctors, sometimes they like work 2 weeks straight, morning and night. And, you know, everybody does not handle their emotions well. So, yeah, now I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over again, but I really want to emphasize that. Like, be confident in who you are. Love yourself. Don't be afraid of anyone. It's okay to make mistakes. That's honestly how you become a better nurse and a better person. And just realize that it's really not even, you know, they're all learning experiences. Like, your mess ups, and when doctors or, you know, just whoever goes crazy on you, it's like a learning experience, because it's like, it honestly makes you more aware. Because I guarantee, like, what I got yelled at about, I made sure that I did it. And usually it's like over like labs or orders or something like that. So I just was like more vigilant about making sure that I read through those things, that those things were done. And so what does that mean? Ultimately, that makes me a better nurse in the long run. Because if I'm making sure that I know my patient's labs, that the orders that are actually in have been done, that I know, you know, that I know certain things, like, that's just ultimately going to make me a better nurse in the long run. And whereas if I just would have quit or would have been so discouraged about it, then that doesn't make you a better nurse in the long run. And that just makes you a big baby. So don't be a big baby. Don't be afraid. Be confident in who you are, because I guarantee you would not have made it this far if you were not capable of doing what it is that you're doing. So I love you guys. I've never said that before, but I really do love you guys. And I thank you all so much for watching my videos. And if there's any topics that you want to hear about, just let me know. Bye. See y'all next time.